Bomber crews in World War II were tasked with some of the most dangerous missions of the war, flying deep into enemy territory to deliver devastating payloads. They operated aircraft like the American B-17 Flying Fortress, British Avro Lancaster, and German Heinkel He-111, all of which were technological marvels for their time. Yet these planes were also fragile in the face of advanced enemy defenses and unforgiving high-altitude conditions. The chances of survival were slim, with US bomber crews in the 8th Air Force suffering over 26,000 fatalities during the war, and RAF Bomber Command losing over 55,000 men, nearly half of all who served. Here are 5 of the deadliest ways bomber crews lost their lives, supported by detailed accounts of their experiences. One of the most feared threats was flak, the anti-aircraft artillery that lined the skies over critical targets. German Flak 88 guns were particularly effective, creating deadly clouds of shrapnel at the precise altitude where bombers flew. These guns were so accurate and well coordinated that entire formations could be obliterated before reaching their targets. Over cities like Berlin, Hamburg, and Dresden, thousands of anti-aircraft guns worked in unison, creating flak zones so dense that survivors likened flying through them to being trapped in a storm of exploding steel. During the infamous raids on Schweinfurt in 1943, targeting vital ball-bearing factories, American bomber crews suffered catastrophic losses, with 60 B-17s destroyed out of 291 planes sent. The damage wasn't just to the planes. Flak tore through crew compartments, killing gunners, pilots, and navigators outright, or leaving them grievously injured. Fighter interceptions were another leading cause of death for bomber crews. Enemy fighters, like the Messerschmitt Bf-109 and Focke-Wulf FW-190, were designed to counter bombers, equipped with powerful cannons and machine guns capable of ripping through their fuselages. German fighter pilots targeted weak points such as engines, fuel tanks, and tail sections, crippling bombers mid-flight. Crews relied on tight formations to create overlapping fields of defensive fire, but this was often insufficient. During daylight raids on targets deep in Germany, like Regensburg and Munich, bomber formations were swarmed by hundreds of enemy fighters. The American B-17 Flying Fortress, known for its heavy defensive armament, was often described as a flying fortress, but even it was vulnerable. In one raid on Regensburg in 1943, more than 60 bombers were shot down in a single day. For British Lancaster crews, who conducted night raids, the danger came from radar-equipped German night fighters, such as the Heinkel He-219 and Ju-88. These aircraft hunted bombers in the darkness, often undetected until it was too late. German tactics like Schräger Musik, where cannons were angled to fire upwards, allowed night fighters to destroy bombers from below without ever entering their gunners' range of fire. Mechanical failure was a silent killer that claimed many lives. Bombers were complex machines, often pushed to their limits during missions. At altitudes of 25,000 feet or more, freezing temperatures caused fuel lines to freeze, oil to congeal, and instruments to malfunction. The oxygen systems, essential for survival at high altitudes, frequently failed, leaving crews at risk of hypoxia, which caused confusion and unconsciousness. The B-24 Liberator, while faster and more versatile than the B-17, was notorious for its susceptibility to engine fires and hydraulic failures. Crews of these bombers often faced grim choices: limp home on failing engines or crash land in hostile territory. British Lancasters, though better insulated against the cold, were not immune to mechanical issues. On long missions, particularly to distant targets like Berlin, engine failures or fuel shortages often forced planes to turn back, leaving them vulnerable to interception or mid-air accidents. When a bomber was too damaged to continue flying, bailing out became the crew's last desperate option. Parachuting from a burning or spiraling bomber was a chaotic and dangerous process. Escape hatches were often difficult to reach, especially for wounded crew members, and the violence of an aircraft breaking apart in mid-air made bailing out an unpredictable gamble. Survivors frequently described the terror of jumping into open air while enemy flak and fighters continued to target them. German pilots were notorious for strafing parachuting airmen, particularly during intense raids over the Reich. Even if they reached the ground safely, captured airmen faced harsh interrogations or imprisonment in POW camps. The fate of airmen was particularly grim during raids like the one over Bremen in 1943, where a B-17 hit by flak spiraled out of control. Of its 10-man crew, only 5 managed to bail out, and only 2 survived to tell the story. Mid-air collisions were another common cause of death, particularly in large bomber formations. Tight formations were essential for mutual defense, allowing gunners to protect one another from enemy fighters. However, these formations also left little room for error. In poor weather or heavy flak, bombers often veered too close to one another. A single damaged plane spiraling out of control could take multiple aircraft with it. During the infamous Nuremberg raid of March 1944, RAF Bomber Command lost 95 aircraft, some due to collisions caused by dense fog and evasive maneuvers. Survivors recalled the horrifying sight of bombers clipping wings and erupting into fireballs, sending entire crews to their deaths in seconds. The life of a bomber crew member in World War II was one of constant danger. Whether from flak, fighters, mechanical failure, bailing out, or collisions, the odds were stacked heavily against them. Of the 125,000 men who served in Bomber Command, more than 55,000 lost their lives, making it one of the deadliest roles of the war. Yet despite the immense risks, bomber crews carried out thousands of missions that shaped the outcome of the conflict. Their courage and sacrifices remain a testament to the extraordinary bravery required to face death in the skies.